Hi, this is Myrna and formerly Joan Jones. But in any case, who you're looking at is Mayawa from Mayawa's World. Now, I watch her videos. I had accidentally left it on preferred or something like that instead of seeing all her videos, so there was some I missed. But it's always nice catching up. But anyway, this beautiful young woman made a video about is Hollywood allergic to dark-skinned women? And she's talking about the casting of a new book that I think was written by written by a black woman. I'm not sure if she's from Africa or from the States or what. It's called Children of Blood and Bones. Now, I'm always intrigued when I see one of us getting our books turned into movies and such. I think that that's just wonderful. But everything that looks like progress can also be turned and used against you. And this is kind of what Mayawa is saying. And when I say used against you, the you I'm referring to is dark-skinned black women, unambiguous black women. And again, like I said, I really don't believe that black women are so much jealous of non-black women or mixed or biracial women as it is that just like everyone else wants to protect their identity, their home, so do black women. But the protection is out of our hands. The people who define or have the power to make images of what a black woman is have decided that they won't use black women to do it. And they will call and I'm talking about the dominant society, we as African Americans tend to blame each other for colorism, but I think you have to go back to its source. People act like colorism and racism are very, very different things. No, I think at least they're sisters. So I think that we blame each other and we say things like, you hate being black, that's why you wear wigs. No, you wear wigs. I think most of the time women are wearing wigs because men like women with long hair. They have made black men in particular like women with long hair. They have made that evident. And it takes a long time to grow out long hair, especially if the products you're using are designed to hurt you. So, in the interim, black women wear wigs. I think, and this is my opinion, because black men like women with long hair. If black men like women with short hair, or if black men really did show a preference, an actual preference in marriage and dating to women who had 4C hair and did not work hard to make it grow long, look long, or put a wig on, or whatever, then more women would do that, is my honest opinion. But I also think spending all your time trying to please a man or men in general is a big waste of your time. And in the end, if you get them, what have you got but a man who expects you to continue spending all your time trying to do whatever it is he wants? Because people in general change their mind. They might want one thing on Monday and something else Tuesday. So unless you're a really, I don't know, unless you're a ventriloquist, no, a magician or something, you can't do it. And in the end, they cannot give you eternal life. They are not supplying the air you breathe. There was a song about "You Are My Air," something stupid like that. I really hated that song. But let me get back to what I was saying. Usual, Mayawa brought up some very interesting points, but of course, the most obvious one is the question she's asking. Is Hollywood allergic to dark-skinned women? No, I don't think they're allergic to dark-skinned women. I think they just simply hate dark-skinned women or want us out. Because even though people will say, well, you wear wigs or you wear weaves or that means you hate being black. No, I think marrying non-black is more of a symptom of you hate being black. That's even a biblical concept because when Samson was telling his father, his parents about wanting a non-Israelite woman, um, I think that's when the father or mother, I don't think the mother was recorded as saying anything, but the father, I think, was like, well, do you hate your people? Now, I kind of think that black women show every day that they do not hate being black, because if they did, it wouldn't just be a few divestors. Every black woman would be divesting and would be even more of them showing their biracial children on Facebook saying, isn't she or he beautiful or lovely? Now, I'm not saying that they aren't beautiful or lovely. I'm just saying black women are not trying to lead the race away from blackness. Black men are. And they're doing it unashamedly. And a lot of times women are questioning black women, what can we do to make these men like us? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. As long as you stay black, they're probably not going to like you. Now, I can say that because I do believe in the second Exodus. I think I think that what you're seeing happening in West Africa, the way the men, the leaders there are standing up and saying, no, we're not going to be treated like second class citizens in our own country, on our own continent, really, any longer. We're going to stand up. I look at them as hope that the black men you see wearing hairstyles that a few years ago a fifth grade girl would have said, no, I'm too old for that. The same men you see wanting to compete with you, black woman, in every area. These men, I have hope that they are going to stand up and be actual men. Now, when I say actual men, I'm looking at it biblically, and I think that a lot of the problem women have, people have in general, especially the ones who are religious, is that they read the Bible and they don't really read it in context. They don't even try to say, to question, excuse me, what they've been told. You've been told the man is the head. Now you can look around in your world and you can see the few marriages that actually seem to work seem to really be a partnership. And the thing that Adam, I think, was told to do by word and example was to be a protector of the land and the women in the land, because through the women the future generations were coming. That's not trying to devalue the male role in reproduction, but I think most would agree that the woman really does the majority of the work. So the question is, Hollywood allergic to dark skinned women? No, they just don't want you, because they they want something from black men that they would have a harder time getting from black women, because black women don't run away from future generations that look like them. That's a black male thing. They want black men's melanin, at least a little of it, because they kind of need it. But people, the strongest of our five senses, the one we use the most, is sight. So, what they want to do is to take black women out of sight, to almost act like you don't exist, the way they've done lots of other things in history, the way they broke noses off of statues, and the way that they'll tell you until recently that black people had no history before slavery, which is kind of the reason why I like the name Songhai, because in the 70s, when we didn't have AI, we didn't have computers, and it would take a whole lot of research to go find certain things that happened in the past. There were three nations we were told about in school, and that was Ghana. Three were Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. Now, I know that they told us about them in elementary school. So I don't know if that was if it was not just my particular school, but it did give us an idea that you did exist before slavery, and you were doing great things. There was also Timbuktu. My sister told me about Timbuktu. That was the learning center. Also, I think it's called On, O-N. So, the thing is, they want to blot out your image, black women, the same way they wanted to blot out all of our images before. But black men, I think, Hebrew Israelite men came up and said, "Oh, no, check the DNA. Look at these pictures we brought up." But even they do not really pay a lot of attention to black women. They also feel like it's like they've been allowed to come to the party. The two of you were together, at least theoretically, but the party, the larger society said, "Hey, black man, you can come. We might make you sit outside while we have our party, but at least you're on the steps and, you get to have a non-black woman in your bed, and that is a sure sign of success." And I think that's what Samson kind of fell into. I think it's a mistake to ignore the Bible. When you read it, really read it in context, it's not telling you that God hated women or that he made women second-class citizens. And I have always thought, at least as far as I can remember, that Adam and Eve were black because I've never seen non-black soil. It's telling you. God said, "Hey, I made them from the dust of the earth." Well, what color is dust? Even our hair texture, 4C hair, most resembles a bunch of dust or dirt put on your head. I mean, it forms little teeny weeny curls that if you don't put moisture on them will dry out. I, to me, it's never been much of a question as to what both Adam and Eve were. And I know I'm going all over the place, and I don't mean to. It's just that it's such a broad subject. But what I want you to look at is look at Mayawa and look at the cover of the. Did I close it? No. Look at the cover of what the representation of the character in the book. Well, I kind of think you could have got her to play it. I mean, I honestly don't think acting is all that hard. And I think that Denzel Washington even said, "Hey, it's not like rocket science." So there are still a few, and I'm from Chicago, where there was always, as far as I knew, the concept of light, medium, and dark with black people. So I think in my time, you would have called her maybe dark brown, or I honestly think medium brown. And that's because I think every generation of black people, and we don't even think about that, every generation of black people is getting lighter. So I think that you could have gotten her or some other dark skinned or dark brown or whatever to play that role. You had to look, I think, a little harder to find the role. And even as, not the role, to find a lighter person to find to play that part. And somebody even said down here about how the person who they got to play the role, Amanda Sand, yes, Stenberg, how how she made her, wait a minute, most known for the Hunger Games. Now, this is odd, but I never saw the Hunger Games. I kind of looked at it and thought, yeah, I don't think so. And I think that I'm keeping up with things, but to a certain extent, some things do get past me, or I see them just on the tail end, maybe even with this particular story. But even in the Hunger Games, the character that she was supposed to play, I think, or that she did play, I think named Rue, was described as having brown skin and brown eyes or something like that. And still, they went and found a biracial. And I think it also has something to do with bloodline, because otherwise, why are you finding light-skinned people, putting them in the role of a brown or dark-skinned person, and then putting brown paint on them? Wouldn't it just be a lot easier to go find a brown person? If the character is Nigerian, go find a Nigerian. And to me, I don't make a whole lot of difference between Black American, unambiguous, and Nigerian, because a lot of us have I I did an ancestry test, and yeah, those tests do change up on you, but the first time I took it, it said 33% Nigerian. And anytime you divide things by three that come from two people, to me is interesting. But I don't think I have three-strand DNA. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, the next time it was 21%. But in any case, I think a lot of us have a lot of Nigerian, and second was Ghanaian. So to me, I didn't really get too upset when they cast Cynthia Erivo for Harriet Tubman, because I thought, yeah, you probably do look kind of the same. But they will definitely go and get a biracial. Even to me, Fresh Prince, Hillary, how did these people make Hillary? I mean, the uncle, I can't remember what his name was. He was kind of light, but where did she come from? Excuse me. That's one thing you could say for good times. Yeah, they did all look like they could. Michael was a little iffy, but they did all look like, yeah, I can see the coloring staying intact. But, the thing is, like I said, we have Black men have been blaming black women, which is kind of what they do. If you really look at it, that's what Adam did from the very beginning. He said to the Most High, that woman that you gave me. So in one sentence, he blamed the black woman and the Most High, which is, like I said, I have an open mind. I don't think I said it here, but I said it somewhere. I sometimes wonder. Yeah, I think I left the comment uh, on my Yahweh's um, video, that I wonder sometimes if the Most High isn't a black woman. Now, please don't get mad at me for saying one thing, because you are allowed to think. Actually, it's encouraged. Well, it's not encouraged by the society, but the Most High gave you a mind so that you could ponder things. And the way black women are hated and it's like an attempt to totally dismiss your existence. The way that that hatred is directed toward black women, even from black men, makes me wonder, well, shoot, maybe God is a woman. So that's just something to think about, and not at all the major thing here. It's just that I'm really glad that Malawa, and I really want to get her name right, because my name has been mispronounced so many times. When I was a little girl, there was a woman who lived next door, and she was prominent in the community because, she was the wife of a preacher, and she was a big light skinned woman. Now, nothing against her being a big light skinned woman. At the time, I didn't think it made a whole lot of difference. Anyway, I don't even know if I had started school. I was 4 or 5 years old, and she had a habit of mispronouncing my name. I was Mona, Myra, Myrna. I was everything but Myrna. And so I remember asking her one day after I said it's Myrna, and I wonder how a woman of your years can pronounce two syllables, Myr and Na. And she hated me from then on. But I wasn't trying to insult her. I really wondered, unless you have a speech impediment, why is it you can't pronounce myrrh and nuh? It's two syllables. They're used in other words. Why can't you put them together in my name? At the time, I had no concept of, well, she just doesn't think you're important enough, or maybe she's on the sly insulting you. But in any case, I try very hard to get people's names correct, because I know what it's like when people don't get yours correct. So if I'm mispronouncing it, I am apologetic, and I will try to get it right. Or better yet, I will get it right. But in any case, like I said, I thought this was a really interesting video. And it is partially I think it's interesting because, of course, it's things I have thought about for the longest. How can you be chased home from school for being dark skinned in a black race? That doesn't make sense. If anything, people should be saying, oh, look how beautiful you are. But that hasn't happened yet. But like I said, I look at the men especially, of course, Ibrahim Traore rather. And I have great hope for black men here that I do think we're kind of the same. Um, the people in West Africa, the Africans in West Africa, and the black Africans here, I'm sorry, black American Africans, I'm sorry, African black Americans, we have so many names here that I look at what they seem to be doing, and it gives me hope that these men here who are, you give them $2 and they'll curse every black woman they see. And the black femicide rate says, you know what, they're also kind of dangerous to you. But like I said, I have hope. I do believe in the second Exodus. I do believe that I don't believe you should be trying to date these men right now. And at first I thought, okay, well, that's just because you're getting older. So, you don't even want to anymore. But it's, I think across the board, maybe even more so for younger women. Because if you look at what Trump is saying that, okay, if you put a man on child support, then collect, uh, you can't put your child on income tax. Now, child support doesn't pay for everything that you're doing for that child. And very often, black men, even though they complain bitterly, most of them who are on child support are not paying that much. So if, say, the guy is giving you $200 a month, well, that child, whatever it was they call it on your taxes where you get a larger amount for having children, that amount might be more than what you're getting in child support. So you might just not put the man on child support, which is what they want. It seems as if they're trying to force women to reproduce. Now, I don't think they mean black women, but we get caught in it when because we're in this country. So I think black women definitely did not think hard about the 4B movement, but I think for your own safety, you might want to reconsider it because the black femicide rate, the I I think that men are more likely to harm you when you're pregnant. Um, you cannot, they're trying to make it impossible for you to get an abortion, and I don't believe in abortion. I believe in at life at conception. So with that belief, it goes back to, well, if he's not going to be held accountable at all for this child, if this child is going to be only on me, well, then I think what's best for me is to not have a child. The best way to not have a child is to not have a man. Now, I'm not saying have a woman. I believe in the Bible. I believe men and women are supposed to be together, but I think that you are in control of what you do. So, for your own best interest, it might be best to look at it like, okay, if you are like me and you believe in the second Exodus, to say, you know what, I'll wait till we get wherever it is we're going, and I'll wait for God to vet them because I can't vet these men. Some of them are very good actors. Before I got married, I thought my ex-husband was the nicest man I ever met until I had a child with him. I was married to him till I had a child with him, and I was in a position where I didn't have any support. That's when you find out who someone really is. But that is another story altogether. But I'm going to leave you with a scripture I often leave you with. And if you stayed this long, thank you. You're so sweet. I mean, I wish I could just reach out and hug you. I'm an Aquarius, so I probably don't seem all that warm a lot of the time, but I think part of the reason why Aquarians have a reputation for being cold is because I think that basically we are extremely emotional. Well, maybe not emotional, but warm-hearted. And when you walk through life like that, but you aren't able to fight like an Aries, you can't out talk people like Geminis, And all the other signs have self-defense. The only defense we have is to leave. I've been watching this guy, and I can't remember his name, is Spence something or other, but he talks about all the signs and he does it so quickly. He's a Leo. I think he's really funny. But every time he talks about Aquarius, he calls Aquarius Casper. And he'll say, "This is what an Aquarius will do." And he'll snap his fingers and disappear because we're supposed to be great at the ghosting game. But I think that when you really think about it, Aquarius is often born into a family that's having difficulties already. And they're born at a time, or we're born at a time that's in the dead of winter when it's the hardest time to keep things going. So I think that's why there aren't as many, they're the least amount of us. So we're born into an environment that may not be the most nurturing. So I think that we disappear because we've experienced it. People have disappeared from us. But I didn't mean to get into that. I don't even remember how I got into that. But I do know I wanted to leave you with this scripture. And again, thank you so much for listening this far. Okay, this is Luke 23:28 through 30. But Jesus, and I know his name is not Jesus, but Yeshua, turning unto them, said, Daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For, behold, the days are coming in the which they shall say, Blessed are the barren, and the wombs that never bare, and the paps which never gave suck. This, he is warning you. He is being tortured. He is warning you. That time is really now when it's probably in your best interest to take a lot of cold showers because getting involved with men right now, and I don't just say black men, I say all men. I think the only difference between other men and black men is other men have racial pride that black men don't have. But you don't hear any other men, no matter how much money they were offered, for the most part, making songs about how much they hate their women or saying that other women look better or are better than their own women. Excuse me. I think all men have the potential to hurt you, but other races of men love their race and they want their race to continue. That's why they go out and find women of their race so that their children can look like them. Black men don't have that. And as much as they want to say black, they try to throw it on black women. No, black women, that's not one of our problems. We don't run from blackness. Sometimes we run to it. In my family, throughout the generations, I think my great grandmother, I told you, was light enough. She was at least biracial. She was light enough to pass. She married the darkest man she could find. She had 12 children. And my mother would say that they looked like the United Nations because some were really light, some were dark. My mother, her mother, was one of the dark-skinned daughters, and she married a light-skinned man who was similar to her in that they both inherited their family got property because of the master leaving them something because they were his children. So that leads to my mother, I always thought she was brown because in her family, she was considered brown and she said she was brown. But when other people talk about her, they would say she was light. So I don't know, but I guess she was light brown. And then you come to myself and my sisters, and I'm the second darkest one. And I generally, like I said, I'm from Chicago, and there you were light, medium, or dark. And I was always medium. I was dark enough so that they weren't gonna pick me to star in the school play, but I was light enough so that they weren't chasing me home either. And I was very aware of that. Like I said, I couldn't understand why are you chasing dark-skinned girls home in the black race? This is a black race. It's supposed to be dark. I mean, it should at least not be something to be punished for. But in any case, again, big hugs for listening to me. I truly appreciate it. You really have no idea. Um, you have melted my Aquarius heart. So Thank you so much, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, I was formerly Joan Jones. That was the nickname my mother gave me when I was a little girl. That, you know, I don't know. Um, I kind of am thinking really hard about the second Exodus, and that is kind of why the name changed. So, you guys, if you have any questions or concerns, I'm going to try to remember to put my email up. I keep saying I'm going to, but I'm going to. So, you guys can contact me, and I would appreciate it. So, take care, like, share, and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.